Long gone are the days of the $5 footlong. Fast food's getting way more expensive in recent years. Now, a post showing just how much prices have spiked went viral on social media. For example, Chick-fil-A's nuggets increased 96% from $3.05 to $5.99. A McDonald's McChicken cost $1.29 in 2019 is now $3.89, a 200% increase. But McDonald's is refuting the viral chart created by Finance Buzz, a spokesperson telling Rising, quote, "Pricing is set by individual franchisees and varies by restaurant. This is not an accurate representation of historical or current pricing at McDonald's restaurants, and the 2024 average prices listed are significantly inflated." Still, Americans are feeling the pain. One user posted a picture of a McDonald's menu in Connecticut selling a Big Mac combo for $18. Outkick founder Clay Travis wrote on X, quote, "Fast food price increases since Joe Biden came into office. It isn't your imagination. Fast food is insanely more expensive than it used to be. This is Bidenomics."
Well, one user disagreed with Travis, writing, quote, "Interesting that the chart uses end of 2019 price as the starting point and not 2021 when Biden took office. It's like something happened in 2020 that caused all of this inflation. If only we could remember what that was," pointing out that obviously the pandemic caused there to be a great deal of supply chain issues and rising costs. The latest April inflation data shows the price of food away from home rose 4.1% year over year, and it's leading consumers to shop for other options. CNBC reported that, quote, "Walmart says more diners are buying its groceries as fast food gets pricey. First quarter earnings and revenue beat Wall Street's expectations at a time when restaurant companies such as McDonald's, Starbucks, and Yum Brands have posted disappointing results." Other businesses are also trying to take advantage of the bad press for fast food, including restaurants like Applebee's and Chili's. In a tweet, Chili's wrote, quote, "Sitting here thinking about you can get a drink, chips, and salsa and burger with fries for $10.99 at Chili's."
This is a very food-centric episode of Rising we're having today for my delicate recovering stomach.
Well, look, yeah, Red Lobster should get in on this and see if they can capitalize on the fact that fast food is getting pricier. I mean, there's always a bit of a blame game that gets played here. I do think it is kind of bizarre to look at all of the coverage we've been doing for years now about the rising cost of goods, much of which was related to pandemic era stuff, some stuff related to various kind of infectious diseases that cause chickens to have to be put down and things like that. We have another segment where we talk about concerns about avian flu. You know, there are a lot of factors that go into this. There were several lawsuits in which companies were held liable for inflating their prices during the pandemic and then keeping them raised, price gouging for which they've been held liable. So there's a lot of blame to go around here. But I do think another part of the story might be that people are, yes, looking at how not just more efficient it is to, or cost effective to buy groceries, but also healthier to buy groceries. It seems a little bizarre to look at all of the kind of cultural incentives to eat better, to stop eating seed oils, to shift away from this kind of fast food consumption habits that have made America notorious around the world for having an obesity crisis, and say, oh no, people aren't eating as much fast food. Now, if it's because people can't afford any kind of food and can't afford to feed themselves in healthy ways and are, generally speaking, being squeezed economically, that, of course, is an important story. But how much of this is also about consumer choice?
Yeah, I will say that it's not just, what we term as like unhealthy fast food, Wendy's, McDonald's, which, that's even not totally inaccurate. They're not so unhealthy. Things you might probably think of as somewhat more healthy, like Pret a Manger. I get their sandwiches around the corner quite often. Those have gone up in price astronomically in the DC area in the last couple of years. I've read articles about, reporters going around and checking what the prices are of like those kind of like sandwich, salad, lunch places, huge increase in pricing. I agree with you if it's just, people have different consumption habits. I mean, there's articles written about McDonald's every couple of years about how it needs to, keep up with the times. McDonald's did like a big facelift to make itself, many of its locations, I don't know if this happened in every location, to make them like look more like Starbucks, of like coffee places.
They've been dragged on social media for looking like depressingly millennial gray, as opposed to having red and yellow and golden arches and ball pits. Now they're all like modernist, gray, square, black.
Ditching the ball pits was a big mistake, and also keeping the age at which you can go in them down below certain levels was also a big mistake. Unfortunately, I think that's the real root of their decline. What was the purple slushy guy thing? Grimace?
Gritty.
Grimace?
Yeah,
Gritty? Grimace.
Grimace. Sorry, I'm getting Philly sports stuff mixed up with McDonald's stuff. Yeah,
Gritty also has some good. These are both social media icons, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, look, we opened with a joke about $5 footlongs, but the Food Institute would point out that Subway is one of the companies that gets a notable mention for keeping its prices more moderated. Both Subway and Burger King have lower average cost rising. They're still going up, but just not as much as some of these others. Starbucks also was one of the best chains that was evaluated for having not had the same sort of spike as some of these other companies.
I was thinking of McDonald's this week because there was a very viral, it was like a single a post on X that went incredibly viral, like 20 million views, talking about the movie. Maybe it turned 20 or something, Super Size Me. This kind of documentary done by this guy who eats nothing but McDonald's for a month and becomes, and like
Is it
gains.
A year?
Is it a year? It's some period of time.
It's a long period of time.
Maybe it's longer than a month. He gains a ton of weight and he becomes really unhealthy, and it was, some kind of cautionary tale.
Oh, you're right. It was only 30 days.
And he gained a ton of weight. And it created this whole, it was a very talked about documentary. It got a lot of accolades. It got a lot of media attention. It caused McDonald's to revisit some of its policies. It reduced its super size because of this film. The film is, I would argue, and what this post says, is very manipulative. People have tried to duplicate what he did. Look, you can eat McDonald's every day, and if you eat the normal amount of calories a person is supposed to eat, but just with McDonald's products, you will not, you might not be the healthiest person on earth. You could have various issues, but you're not going to rapidly gain weight. He gained weight because he ate 3 times as many calories of each day of McDonald's food,
part of the experiment.
and he had an alcohol problem.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the experiment that if they asked if you want to get it supersized, he would say yes, and it was supposed to be a commentary on kind of the incentives that the company was pushing on the consumer.
That was part of it, but it was presented as, oh look, I'm eating nothing but McDonald's food and I gained all this weight. Okay, but you're eating, if you eat tons more than you're supposed to eat of any kind of food. If if your calories are, if you have 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day, you're going to, and you're a normal sized adult male, you're going to gain weight regardless of what kind of food it is.
Well, one aspect that should also not go ignored is that McDonald's has come under a lot of flack and has been the target of pro-Gaza boycotts. And there has been some commentary about whether or not that is a part of what's affecting its bottom line and its interest in stories about people, blaming other sorts of things for not being frequented as often. In certain Muslim majority countries around the world in particular, they've taken a big hit, not just McDonald's, but other American brands that because of their association with the United States of America are just perceived as endorsing what our country is facilitating in Gaza. So the same for Starbucks, which is also a part of these kinds of boycotts. They had to change the branding of a Starbucks in, I think, in an Irish airport, some country that is very sympathetic to Palestine, because nobody was going to it anymore because it was Starbucks branded, and they had to be a bit more discreet about it to get anyone to even be willing to go. So that's all going on in the background as well. Let us know what your experience has been with engaging in fast food. Have you noticed the prices going up, and have you been motivated to shop there less because of the prices? Or are there other kinds of trends that are motivating your consumption habits? Let us know in the comments and stick around. We've got a lot more Rising coming up next.